make
I
that
know.
into a
So don't have to be like everybody else. That's the thing, is the power of being yourself. But I don't know about you. When I was a teenager, I thought that I had that and I thought I knew how to be myself. But in reality, so much outside influences and just they impact you and they can grab you and you can easily get swept away into it. And that's, for me, that's what I found, is I got swept away and I got swept away deep. And so, I mean, you and I have united and have decided to just, our passion is education and helping people live better, more fuller, more grounded lives. So we have, well, for lack of better words, we have birthed Adulting Today Academy.
Yes, we have. We have birth. It's all coming natural. It's a natural thing. I love it. And I
Right?
love how we both come from different walks of life, right? Like we both were brought up differently. We're not the same age and we both have different experiences, but that's the beautiful part about it. Like we bring our experiences together and I don't know, it just allows us to offer so much more coming from different backgrounds and being raised differently probably too, and our upbringings and what our high school life was like, or right, like all of those
We're at
things.
different stages of life. Like there's so many things, differences, but we both see the same need across humans and
Absolutely.
finding it, of seeding it when kids are younger, because just getting that basic understanding. I mean, that's the thing, is being out and working in the public, one of the things that I see is, public school systems are great, but they're zoned for a certain area and there's not enough curriculum hours to teach the life skills and the life fundamentals. It's just kind of, let us get in all the educational side. That's the requirement. We can't do this. So from what I've seen is that oftentimes the homeschoolers and the kids that have more of an alternative path have been able to grasp some of that a little bit more. However, also with that, speaking with the parents, is they're still susceptible strongly to influence of their peers and those stresses of being a teenager and those things that help us merge into being the amazing, successful adults that we want to be. I mean, no path is ever going to be perfect and without issues. I mean, what do we say? Shit happens. It's what you do with it. But having the tools and resources to handle it and know where to turn, it's makes all the difference. And I wish I had that.
I do too. What kind of tools and resources are you talking about?
Well, just the right people to talk to. It's one thing to ask for help from somebody, but it's another thing to ask for help from somebody that can help you, that can show you the way and not just do things for you. But when you're thinking about, how do I handle a situation where I'm, trying to advocate for myself, where something feels wrong. And at the end of the day, it might be easier just to turn a blind eye and walk away, but you're not doing anything to help yourself. And in this world, we have to advocate for ourselves. We have to stand up for what we believe in, but we don't need to do it in a negative way. We need to do it in a positive way that encourages change, that encourages people to come along or, meet us in the middle and understanding how to compromise and how to communicate. And I mean, you and I have done research on our own personalities and how we can best work together and how, I mean, that I find is
The foundation.
the foundation for our success as a partnership and as friends. I mean, how many times have we met in person?
Exactly. One time, because and how we wish we had those when we were younger. I do too. Like I'm thinking about, I'm almost 50 years old, right? And I'm thinking, how come I didn't have these things then when I could have used them the most or been told? And it's not that my parents failed me. It's not that the school system failed me necessarily, right? But at the same time, we're talking about when we're younger, all of those outside influences, like we're trying to fit in with our peers. We're trying to, like, we have this persona, is that the word, persona? Like we're trying to make ourselves into something that we're not sometimes, just so that we can fit in, as opposed to who are we really? And are we thinking about that when we're younger? No, because number one, we didn't hear that from anybody. Like, start being yourself. And I mean, I guess my parents anyway, I remember my parents telling me, like, just be yourself, but it doesn't really stick, right, when you're younger, until like you start going through those experiences. And now that I'm older, I'm looking back going, man, if I could have just changed that, Or if I could have just like not let those things bother me and just been myself and been more open and vulnerable and honest and real. And when you're doing that, like the effect that it has on other people to also do the same, it's amazing because I'm thinking about it right now as an adult. The people that I tend to hang out with, so to speak, I feel like they also have that same thing. Like, you know what? I'm not going to worry so much about what I'm saying because this is me. This is me being real and honest. And I'm not going to be really worried about the boundaries that I'm setting because I understand that the people that I'm with get that as well. Right. So that's why I'm so passionate about what we're doing too, Tara, is that we're learning from our past and that we can teach the younger generation that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to not have all the answers and to ask for help or to find those resources and have those tools that are out there for you.
Well, and that's the thing too, is from when we were growing up and regardless of different environments to today, what I found is, a lot of people, there's that snowflake thing. And I know we hate that term. So the kids do often hear more of be yourself and be yourself, but they aren't taught the conflict resolution. They're not taught how to compromise, how to see things. This is the number one thing. Perspective, how to look at things from other angles as well. And it will oftentimes shift our mindset. So when they're only hearing oh, you be yourself. And so they're so stuck in the mud of, well, that's me and this is how it is.
Right. Absolutely.
To thrive in society, you have to flex. You have to know how to treat people. There has to be some smidge. It's not like this, because if you're like this, you're only going to go so far and you're going to
make it difficult.
I'll tell you, I have made my own life harder in many instances because I decided to be like this, because I fucking knew what I was doing and nobody was going to tell me different and I wasn't going to ask for support.
Yeah.
Well, truth be told, I could have made it easier. So now we work on that. And you think about how often do parents and just around us, we try to hide our imperfections. I'd like to say, not perfect. Are you perfect?
No, absolutely not. I do not know anybody that's perfect, and I never will.
No.
We're always learning and we're always growing. That's a beautiful thing. The more we choose to learn and to understand, and when you talk about perspective and mindset, that is literally the key. That's the foundation. Just to have an open mindset. And we talk about all sorts of things, but I can just give a simple example. Text messaging. You get this text message from somebody and you're reading it, right? You're reading it a way that you think they're interpreting it, but they're not. Like, it's completely, there's been so many times that I've taken a step back and went, wow, if I would have just stopped and just thought, like, maybe what's the position that they're in right now? What are they going through? And did they really mean to come off that way? Probably not. Like, anyway, just stopping and having that change of mindset. It's not always about me. It's not always about trying to, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, what about the person in traffic that just nailed their horn at you and you're ready to just flip out on them, but it's like, maybe they're rushing to the hospital.
Yeah.
You got no clue.
Exactly. You just never know.
Taking the time to figure it out. No. So
but that's the thing that is not going to be changed overnight too. That's something that you just we always have to be working towards that, right? We always have to have, it's not going to be, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and go, wow, look at this. I just changed completely. Now I know how to handle every situation or how to take a step back and evaluate. It's constant work in progress. Like, there's days that I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that I did it this way. But there's also days where I caught myself like, I just jumped up the ladder of inference. I totally just assumed, made those assumptions as opposed to thinking through what just happened. So, but I think that's life. We're never going to be perfect. We're not going to be able to be perfect.
It reminds me of the times when we've had a couple messages back and forth or somebody didn't respond or whatever. And we've both automatically done this assumption. And then we talk about it. And we're like, no, it wasn't like that at all. So just wait and communicate it. Our growth stops. An amazing life coach told me this recently, and it resonated, was our growth stops when we come up with the thing that we know. When you say, I know what to do, you stop. Like, just because there's like this mental block or whatever it is that because we know we just wholly think we know, we might not actually be doing what we need to do, but we know, so we're done. But growth stops there. So we never know. We should always be taking action. So this is the start of our podcast. And so what are we offering our community through our podcast? Where are we going? What are we doing?
Just be able to talk about the things that people really want to talk about. Like, enough of this, let's be perfect. Like, we have the perfect life and we know exactly what to do, and we're the perfect parents, or I'm the perfect kid, because, you know, we're all going through it. The kids are going through it too, right?
There's no stage that it stops. I'm excited to teach ways that teens and adults can better their lives, live more mindfully, but also share success stories. Like, just because something goes one way doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. We have the power to change. It's the same as if you read a good book and you find something that's relatable, it resonates with you, and you seed that into your life. Motivate, inspire, and help people bring their lives to the next level, no matter where they are in their life. So that I'm pumped about, because at the heart of everything, education is my passion. I've been to hell and back again, and not that I'm not grateful for that full journey and all those lessons, but I want to help people not have those same life experiences sometimes.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Like, learning and sharing what we've been through, right? Sharing and being open about it, and just giving other people the chance to know that it's not abnormal to feel like we don't have it all together. Sometimes we just don't have our shit together. And it's great to have somebody on our side. Like, how cool would it be when we were growing up to be able to have these resources? Maybe they were there, we just didn't know about it, right? And if I could have just opened up a cell phone back in the day, right, and listened to this cool podcast about whatever it was that I'm struggling with, or I want to be able to hear that it's okay for me to be going through these things.
I would have loved somebody that could relate and give me some guidance. Oh my God, I would have loved some financial intelligence. I would have loved something on healthy boundaries, that it was okay to say no. I mean, all the little things. I would have loved to have loved myself more and expected people to treat me with respect, and just so many things.
About all things adulthood, like things that you actually could have used, knowing when you are the things that you needed to know as you were transitioning into adulthood, because sometimes we just got slapped with some stuff.
I'm jumping into the dating world now at 40 years old, and these are things that are important. I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, there's just so many things. And then how to be successful, how to go get yourself a job. I mean, what are the things we want to learn? And so we can do shorts with that. But this is going to be so much fun.
And things are changing too, right? Like, the world today is not the same world it was 10 years ago. So things are changing.
Do you remember being in math class and you're like, why do I have to know this shit? Well, you're never going to have a calculator with you all the time, Mindy.
I was just thinking about that yesterday when my son is he just opened up a wall in his house, and Mike had gone over there to help him, and we were on the ferry to Seattle, Mike and I, and he FaceTimes them, and it's so fun to just watch them talk about, okay, so how do I measure this? And I'm thinking to myself, I remember those days where you're like, I hated math, Mom. Why do we even need this stuff? But you kind of need that stuff.
Anyway, I did long division with Kira the other day, and I had to refresh my memory. I'm like, okay, how do I do this again? Because I hadn't done it she goes, you always have a calculator. I'm like, no, I know how to do it. I just need a memory refresher because it's been so long. So I was like, no, it's okay. But so I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an amazing journey. And
they can find us at www.adultingtoday.com, and all of our
go to the contact page. Send us what you want.
I'm super excited about this too, Tara. I cannot wait. I'm so glad that you and I met, and we have a lot of work to do ourselves, and we're out there. We're here to share it with the world. So
anybody needs support, reach out, even just if it's for something little, a little guidance, a perspective shift, to reach out and say hello and ask for what you need. It's not going to cost you anything. Just reach out, make that first step, and you'll never know where your next transition, your next up level is going to come, and we're happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Any question that anybody has, or even a comment, like, I would love to just go through them. We're going to go through every single one of them, by the way, and then just picking one, and then the next episode we'll touch base on that. We'll read that question or comment, and then maybe that's what we're going to have our podcast on. So that's how we're going to make this fun and interesting, and
and grow.
Useful and helpful, and yeah, useful, helpful for all, and grow.
Yep. Knowledge is power, baby.
Absolutely. By the way, you're awesome.
You're even more awesome. Keep that shit up.